"Sir, shut off that junk right now." The officer's voice cracked through the pine-lined highway like a whip. Her mirrored sunglasses glinted under the late Georgia sun as she stepped closer, jabbing a finger at the elderly man on the motorcycle. He didn't flinch, just looked her in the eye, calm but steady, his hand resting on the throttle of a weather-worn motorcycle that had clearly seen history. "This junk," he replied with a firm tone, "carried my squad leader's ashes back from Normandy. It ain't going anywhere without me." He was parked on County Road 45, just a few miles outside Fort Moore, formerly Fort Benning. The motorcycle beneath him was a United States Army Harley-Davidson WLA from 1942, the very kind issued to World War II couriers. His shirt was olive green, tucked and faded, and his cap simply read, "Veteran," in worn yellow stitching. But to police officer Karen Holbrook, it was just another outdated, unregistered vehicle causing trouble. "We had reports of an unlicensed motorcycle with no visible plates," she snapped, hand resting near her belt. "You're not above the law just because you wear a veteran cap." The man said nothing. He had learned long ago that silence sometimes spoke loudest. Cars began slowing as they passed, drivers craning their necks. In the distance, there was a vibration in the pavement, barely noticeable at first. But then the hum became a rumble. The officer turned her head as a cloud of dust lifted above the trees, and then they appeared. A convoy of military vehicles came barreling down the country road, 40 Humvees, some painted in desert camo, some marked for base logistics. At the center of the column was a black command vehicle bearing the insignia of the United States Army. It came to a halt just feet away. Out stepped a captain, United States Army Captain Thomas Richard Delaney. Bronze Star, twice decorated, base operations officer at Fort Moore, and known across the southeastern military region for his sharp discipline and sharper instincts. Captain Delaney walked straight toward the patrol car and locked eyes with the officer. "What's going on here?" he asked, tone like steel. Officer Holbrook squared up. This man was operating an unlicensed vehicle, no visible identification or registration. Captain Delaney turned to the man on the bike, then looked back at her. "Do you know who that is?" She shook her head. "Number should I?" "That is Staff Sergeant Charles Emery, retired, United States Army, 260th Quartermaster Battalion. 3 combat tours. Normandy, Bastogne, Remagen. He was a courier under fire when you were still learning to tie your boots. The motorcycle he's riding is federally registered under the Veterans Legacy Preservation Act and classified as a protected artifact." She blinked, stunned. "He didn't say. He shouldn't have to," the captain snapped. "Respect is not earned with explanations. It's owed." Another Humvee rolled forward. A team from the Fort Moore Heritage Preservation Detail stepped out with a folder containing legal documentation under Title 38, Section 3729 of the United States Code. It clearly confirmed that the motorcycle was registered and protected by federal law, immune from impoundment or citation under historical military exemption codes. Her posture deflated. "I didn't know." Captain Delaney pointed to her cruiser. "Because you didn't ask." He turned back to Staff Sergeant Emery. "Sir, we were on our way to escort you to base. The ceremony won't begin without you. May we continue with the honor?" The old man gave a small nod. "I'm not mad, Captain, just disappointed. Feels like we never stopped fighting to be seen." Captain Delaney offered a salute. "Not today." The convoy reorganized, and with the staff sergeant leading the way on his rumbling vintage Harley, the column of Humvees rolled through rural Georgia, headed for Fort Moore. It was the 79th anniversary of Operation Overlord. And today, Charles Emery was being honored, not just for his own service, but as the last surviving courier from his company who had carried his lieutenant's ashes home from St. Lo in 1944. At Fort Moore, hundreds of uniformed soldiers stood in formation. A platform had been built on the main quad, and a large banner read, "Legacy of Service, D-Day Heroes." The moment Sergeant Emery rolled up, silence fell over the field. General Robert Flynn, base commander, approached the podium. "Today we do not honor a vehicle. We honor what it carried. Messages, hope, sacrifice, and the memory of lives lost." Staff Sergeant Emery removed his cap and looked at the crowd. I carried more than notes in that saddlebag. I carried men's names, and I thought the road ended there. But you reminded me, it didn't. The crowd erupted in applause. Officer Holbrook stood quietly at the back, no longer in command, but a witness. She walked up after the ceremony ended, removed her sunglasses, and extended her hand. "I'm sorry," she said. "I had no idea." He shook her hand gently. "Now you do." The motorcycle was officially added to the Fort Moore Military Heritage Gallery, where it would remain beside the photographs of fallen couriers and preserved dispatch maps from 1944. A folded flag rested in its saddlebag. So respect is not about age or appearance, it is about the miles someone has carried for the country, sometimes on paper, sometimes in silence. Before we end this story, let us know in the comment where are you watching from. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button and drop a karma in the comments below.